Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and in this one I am doing a journal cover. Now you might have seen this one on Instagram, maybe on a shorts already. I'm not sure if I've posted it, but this is the kind of the longer version. In real time it was only a quick one to do really, this page, so it wasn't really worth speeding it up. So I tend to do my journal covers. If you followed me a long time, you'll know that I do them when I've finished my journals. I can't really explain why I do this. Partly, I guess it's like a if I do it after, then I'm less likely to mess it up while I'm working in it. I'm not a particularly messy artist, but I can be quite clumsy. Like last night, I knocked over a whole pot of water on my desk. Painty, mucky, brown, horrible water. So I am quite clumsy. So I do have to be a little bit careful. So I don't know, maybe that's like a subconscious reason for leaving it till last, I'm not sure. So of course, I just kind of felt like I wanted to have some nice, bright, happy rainbow colours on the cover. So instead of putting them all on my brush to start off with, I am putting 3 at a time and just pulling those across the page. You can see this is real time, so this is how slowly I do it. And once it's dry, so I'm drying in between each coat, I'm just going in the odd place where I feel like the colour, so the yellow kind of disappeared a little bit there, so I'm just adding a bit extra in just to make that properly sing. And of course, if you're working on the cover, you do need to keep lifting it up so that you can actually see the spine, because you'll think you've got it all and then you'll close your book and there'll be a giant gap down the middle where the book folds. So yeah, don't forget to kind of lift that book up so that you can make sure you've got your paint right into the little nooks and crannies of the cover. And that's the same whether you're working on a small one or a large one. So this is a Dina stencil called Lined Circles, and I'm using white paint, and I'm just going to add some circles onto the front of the cover. I'm using a blending tool to apply the paint. So I'm going to be going in with quite a light application of paint to start off with. And like I say, I'm just going to add some areas of stenciling onto the front cover. And I'm overlapping where I've added my rainbow colours. I'm coming off the rainbow colours and onto the page that's left, just to start to create those different layers of colour. So this is an Amsterdam acrylic paint in a sort of lilac-y colour, and I'm using the Pieces stencil from Dina just to add some stripes onto my page. I should have said at the beginning, the paints that I've used for the rainbow are also Amsterdam acrylic, and they are just like the brightest rainbow colours that I could find. Dina's colours would work just as well, and really just select the rainbow colours that you really like, the ones that really work for you. Some people are purists and would want, like the right colours at the end of the rainbow. No, I'm not really fussed. I just do whatever works at the time. So here I'm just overlapping this second lot of stenciling over the ones I've just done, and it just kind of helps to start to tie that together. When you overlap your stenciling a little bit, it creates that really layered effect on your page. So this is Dina's stamp set, Block Alpha. I always call it Alpha Block. I think it's Block Alpha. I think Alpha Blocks is a program that was on in the UK for children. I'm getting mixed up with the two, but yes, this is Block Alpha, and I'm using a piece of the Collage Sparks, and I'm going to stamp my letters on. So you notice I'd lined 3 up on the front of the cover because I'm going to have 3 words. Move your hands. And I wanted to see if it would fit all right, so kind of measuring those up just to check before I went ahead and stamped them onto this piece of Collage Sparks. The only reason for using the Collage Sparks is it was at hand and it was fairly small, meant I wouldn't be wasting too much. But obviously the Collage Collective would work just as well for this. So then I'm using black archival ink. I am popping the Block Alpha stamps onto an acrylic block. It just makes it a little bit easier. It means you can kind of line your word up, get them all nice and in the same place, and then stamping them on. You could just as easily use a stamping platform if you want to for this. Sometimes for me it's just more of a hassle to get that out. But if that's what you're more comfortable with, then absolutely that would work just as well, if not maybe better. So just finishing off with the last word, I'm going to stamp this into the space that's left, and then these are going to get cut out, ready to go on my cover. Okay, so now I'm cutting them out. And I decided I was going to cut them up. I was thinking I might leave them together, but I think they actually work better cut up because then you can see more of the background through the little spaces in between the letters. Yeah, so that's just the reason why I've done that. And also then you can kind of put them all at different jaunty angles and it creates that extra interest. So now I'm just sticking them down using a glue stick. Double-sided tape would work just as well, or clear glue, anything really, just to get those stuck in place. And you can see I've done them at different angles, so they're not all kind of straight and boring facing the same way. Like I say, it just adds that extra level of interest on the page or cover, as this is. Then I'm using my dotty stamp from Funky Fossil. Hopefully very, very soon this will be available as an A7 stamp on its own. I'm hoping Sarah's going to get that made up for us. I think it's just a really useful one to have, and I'm going to stock up on a couple of spare ones because I use it a lot, as you see. Yeah, so this is just adding a bit of mark making onto my cover. Any mark making would work perfectly well. Tim Holtz has got a fabulous stamp set called Media Marks. There are some fantastic marks and patterns in there that would work really well too. Then I went in with some pink splatters. This is the Stoked Neon from Dina. I think my paint water must have been a little bit murky because it's not quite as bright as it should be, but you know, it doesn't matter, does it? And I think I accidentally at one point daub the front of my book with my oh, look at that there, the giant splat that came off. Doesn't matter, I'm going to go in with a baby wipe and just lift that off at the end, so that's not a problem. sometimes sometimes things like that happen and it's a happy accident, and sometimes it's really not. And as long as the paint's wet and the layer underneath is dry, you can lift it off without doing any damage to your page, really, as long as there's no water soluble layers underneath it. So I'm just going to block that off, really. There we go, gone. You would never have known it was there. Okay, and then I just felt it was lacking a little bit of, it needed more white just to tie in with the white that's on some of those letters. So I'm using one of the little tubes that I've got. I'm just going to stamp some circles onto there as well, using some white acrylic paint. And you can see that just pulls it all together. So it lifts the white in the background, marries it up with the white in the letters, and it just pulls that together too with these little white circles. And because of course they work with the circle stenciling that's gone on in the background too. So then to finish off, because that white paint was there, because I went in with some white splatters. They're a really great way to finish off a page, and sometimes you can end up splattering like wiggly worm shapes and things. Depends how much you've watered your paint down. But I just love the way that these look. I think it's quite an artsy look, and it's a really easy way to use up bits of leftover paint too. And adding white or black splatters is another way to kind of bring more contrast to your page too. So obviously that needed a good dry before it could be laid down, because I've splattered the front and the back. But that is it for this journal cover. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this bright, colourful, happy rainbow cover. And maybe it's inspired you to have a go at doing one yourselves. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.